And you want to start out first with browning some mushrooms. So right in this pan, I've got just some button mushrooms going. And I just brown them in a little bit of olive oil and butter if you want to. Now let me tell you, when you bring mushrooms home, and you can use button mushrooms for this, you could use shiitake, you could use porcini if you had them. And you really don't want to wash mushrooms because they're water to begin with. So just wipe them off with a paper towel. And then for this recipe, all we did was slice them like so, about 1/4 of an inch thick. And we want to brown them just until they're soft. So once they're soft like that, I give them just a little bit of salt and pepper. And now I'm going to transfer them to a bowl, because I don't know if you know this, but a lot of people want to know secrets about me, and I'm going to tell you one. I'm a one-pan girl, so if I'm cooking several things, I want to save myself a job of washing dishes in the kitchen. So I try to think of how can I utilize the same pan over and over. So because I'm doing chicken today, I started out with the things that would not be contaminated first. So the vegetables, if you're doing vegetables or if you're doing mushrooms, you do the mushrooms first. So I did the mushrooms, and now we want to work with the chicken. And when you get it home, for this particular recipe, what I like to do is partially freeze the breast, because that makes it so much easier to cut. So if you partially freeze it, then you can get your knife easily down and cut this. I want to make this fairly thin, so I want to cut this up into 2 pieces. So I'm making 2 pieces of chicken out of 1 chicken breast that weighs about 6 ounces. So once you do that, then I like to use a meat pounder. And here's my weighted meat pounder that I got from Italy, but you can find this in any good cook store. And you just want to flatten them. Flatten them just so that they're an even thickness. Don't tear them. If you have a little piece that looks like it's going to come apart, just be gentle with it. So flatten them out just so they're an even thickness. You can do that on both sides. And once they're thin enough, well, then you can do the next thing, which is to flour and season them. So I'm going to put these 2 pieces on this plate, move this out of the way, and now I still have a clean board. So in a bag, and you can do this in a plastic bag or you can do it in a big brown paper bag, we want to add a little bit of salt and some pepper. I didn't put my hands in there because I still have chicken on them. So once you have that like that, you take the pieces and you put them in the bag. See? You can do 3 or 4 at a time. It's a nice one. And let's do 1 more. Put them in the bag and shake them up, just like that, to get them well coated. You want to, this is called dredging. So you see, it should look like that. So now that they're like that, I've got to go wash my hands, because the next thing we're going to do is take those pieces out of the bag and put them into our frying pan. So you got to be really conscious about what you touch next. So now in that same pan that we cooked the mushrooms, we're going to put some olive oil, extra virgin olive oil, and we're going to put a little bit of butter. I like the combination of the 2 in this recipe. So butter and olive oil, unsalted butter. Shake off that excess. And now do this in a really large saute pan. This is a 14-incher. You don't really want to crowd the pieces, so if you have to do this in batches, do it in batches. There's my second piece. And then when you're done with the flour, you want to eliminate it. But I'm going to save it because we're going to do another recipe where we have to dredge the chicken breast. So we don't need to throw this out. So there is our 3rd piece, and here is our last piece of chicken. So now we want to get the heat up on that and let that go. So while that is browning, I'm just going to set that aside, we need to juice up some lemons. Please do not use lemon juice that's been shall we say, reconstituted, because it really doesn't have the same flavor as fresh lemon. So get yourself a couple of lemons and juice them. All right, you see, we have a little crust there. That's what we want. So we turn the chicken over on the other side and get it browned, because you really want that to look beautiful. So now while that's browning, what we're going to do is chop up some parsley, because we need a little parsley for this. And for this, we want some good flat leaf Italian parsley. You see how nice these leaves are, nice and big, so you just want to chop that up. Let me get the right knife here for this. And just give it a nice chop. I like parsley in this dish because it just gives it a nice color. You're going to add some more butter. So here we have more butter, so I'm going to put that in. Let's put in 2 tablespoons of butter. And here's Marsala wine. And for this dish, we're using a sweet Marsala. Now, Marsala is a fortified wine, and it takes its name from Marsala in Sicily, which is on the western coast. And this is a fortified wine because brandy has been added to it. So now I'm going to give it about, a half to 2/3 of a cup of the Marsala. If you wanted to use a dry Marsala with this, you could. And lemon juice. So now we want to put in some lemon juice. This is a really spritey dish. And you let this cook down. You want this sauce to cook down until, it's thickened and it's kind of reduced by half. And any drippings that you have on your plate, you want to add that right back as well. And now you add the mushrooms back into the pan with the chicken. Doesn't this look good? This is a true Italian-American recipe. You add that, and then, of course, you add the parsley. So we're going to put all of that in and stir this around. And you only want to cook this for a couple of minutes, because basically you have browned those chicken pieces and you just want to really reheat this in the sauce. So stir it around a couple minutes, let it cook, and it's all ready to serve. So we're going to serve that up, and let me show you how that goes. Get this out of the way. And you want to do this on a nice platter. So what can you serve this chicken with? We could do a nice side of polenta, would be wonderful with this, or you could do just some vegetables. Whatever's your fancy, really. Some broccolini would be nice with this. Anything. All right, so now we can take this out. I'm going to use my slotted spoon for this so that I can get the sauce afterwards. So you take the chicken onto a really beautiful plate, kind of overlapping it a bit, just like that. There's 3. And this little one. And then I'm going to turn that off, scrape all of that up, and pour it right over the chicken. I can tell you right now, folks, better than a restaurant. And there it is, chicken Marsala.